If it sounds like I'm cold, clattering of teeth or shaking, it's because I have the most incredible brain freeze from just drinking my smoothie. It's probably the worst time in the world to be doing a podcast is when you're freezing after drinking a smoothie. But hey, I'm going to charge forward and we're going to get this done because it's just a great time when no one is in my office to bother me while I do my podcast. Today, we are going to talk about the importance of social media and also the lack of importance of critics. And man, are they just terrible. So we're going to talk about that stuff today. Welcome to How to Build a Tent, the podcast on how to make you successful in your business, in your art, in your finances, hopefully applying to every area of life and making it relevant for you and helping you become successful, because that's what's the most important thing about this, is to make you successful. And I hope that is happening with you. I'd love to hear your stories and how you are using your success once you get it, and be able to use your influence, use your wealth, and use your companies for the glory of God, which is the most important thing. If you have any questions, comments, you can reach out to me. I'm at How to Build a Tent. If I do another podcast, do I have to change my Twitter, Instagram handles? I don't know. I was thinking about that today. Like, if I hypothetically was going to start doing another podcast and it was named something completely different, do I still have my handle be How to Build a Tent? I can't use my name. My name is like the most common name in the world. But that's an interesting thing to think about. But for now, you can reach me on the social media sites at How to Build a Tent. You can email me, Matt at howtobuildatent.com. Love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what kind of business you're working on, what kind of side hustle you are working on. And because it's so important to diversify your income. You don't want to be dependent on one company. You don't want to be dependent on one employer, because you're beholden to them. And the less you are dependent on one stream of income, the less dependent you are on them. And that's the same principle in business as a business. You don't want to have one customer, because the customer will have control over you. But if you have 1,000 customers, no one customer is going to have control of you, with the understanding that they equally have distributed your sales. I mean, if you have 1,000 customers and 90% come from one, then yeah, they still have power over you. But if all 1,000 of them are equal, so too with your own career. Your career really is just your own business, and you are in contract with your company, and you are going to provide a service, your work, whatever work product that is, whatever service you're providing, whatever you do for a profession, and in exchange, they're going to pay you for it in the form of a salary. And a lot of people don't think of it that way, and you really should, because it just will make a lot more sense if you have that mindset for yourself. When your job lays somebody off and asks you to do their work and doesn't want to renegotiate your contract for employment, because, hey, you're an employee, so I'm just going to give you as much to do and you're going to take it. Well, if you have diversified income and you consider yourself or you think of yourself like a business, then you will have a red flag in your head and you will think, I am doing more than was agreed upon in my job description. I can go ask for a raise now. And most likely you'll get it, because they're going to pay you at least something more, because, hey, they need someone to work and do the job. Otherwise, they're going to be spending a lot more money trying to replace you and having to pay someone more anyways in the long run. So just something to think about for those of you that have careers working for a corporation. We are part of the Fight Laugh Feast network. Go to fightlaughfeast.com. Put in HtBT in the memo field when you subscribe, and you will get an HtBT 15-ounce mug. It's perfect for smoothies today. It's also perfect, obviously, for coffee and anything else that you would like to put into it. It's a fantastic mug that towers the rest that are not usually 15 ounces. And you will be coming alongside of us to proclaim the lordship of Jesus in every area in life. And man, isn't it good to know that Jesus is Lord. I was going on a run this morning. I've been doing that again, and it feels so good. It's so good to get back into running shape. There's just something about it. Being in running shape takes a while, takes a couple weeks at least if you're diligent about it. But once you get there, man, it's so nice because it kind of just clears your head. You're not like sore. Your muscles aren't cramping up. Your lungs aren't seizing. And you're able to get to a place where you have this like runner's high where you can think, pray, and just clearly assess the day ahead of you. And that's why I love running in the morning. But one of the things I was thinking about is trusting God. I was praying. I've been reading through the Old Testament, First Kings and the Chronicles with my wife. And one of the constant themes in not just First Kings and the Chronicles, First Kings, Second Kings too, not just the theme in the Kings and the Chronicles, but also in the prophets, are the amount of idols and high places that Israel had. And even some of the good kings, quote unquote, the ones that did serve God and made God happy and was pleasing to God, some of them still kept their high places. And that's just been really hitting home to me and wanting to confess and repent from any of the idols in my life, any of the high places where I am performing sacrifices to false gods. I want to just get rid of them all because they're false. I was reading, what was it, in Amos today, where it talks about like basically you became the false idol. You're the false idol, or you're worthless. That's what it was. By worshiping worthless idols, you have become worthless to God. And like, I don't want to be that. And I was thinking about faith. And for me, right now in my Christian walk, I feel like it's easy for me to have faith that I am going to rise again because Jesus paid the price for me, that I'm going to be part of the resurrection because Jesus was the first fruit of that resurrection. And I have faith that God has done the work for me. And that is so easy for me. But I found myself like wondering, why do I lack faith or have doubt that God's going to provide everything I need with like my 401k or my house or my cars or whatever it is, right? All of the worldly things that I'm comfortable with, like I like have a lack of faith for that. And I was praying through that with God, and I just had this epiphany that it's not that I don't trust God to provide. He is going to provide for my soul, spiritually, for everything that I need to do for him. He's going to provide. What I'm doubting and what I don't have faith about is that he's going to provide for everything that I want. And maybe the lack of faith really is just a proof of an idol or a high place in my life where I don't want to lose the things that I'm comfortable with, the other things that maybe isn't God's will, but I want to keep them anyways. And it's not that I'm not faithful or not that I don't have faith that God's going to provide. I don't think he's going to provide for the things that make me comfortable. And maybe the issue isn't a lack of faith, but it's an issue of idolatry or high places in my life. So anyways, I would encourage you with that. If you are having issues with doubting God's provision in any way, maybe it's because there's some high places in idolatry in your life as well. And throw those down. Do not become worthless like the idols that we worship or have a tendency to worship. Let us return to the Lord and let's worship him full-heartedly, for our whole minds, all of our spirit, and all of our souls. I wanted to talk about also this great social media story, the Popeyes Chick-fil-A. I just wanted to give you some statistics. No doubt you guys have heard about the feud between the chicken sandwich from Popeyes and Chick-fil-A. You've probably heard it in a sermon. I definitely have heard it in a few of mine. But I just thought these were some interesting statistics for it. And remember that this was because of social media and how important it is. Social media is a grind, and it requires diligence. It requires intellect. It requires engagement. And you don't always see the payoffs. You definitely don't see them usually right away. But if you continue to do it, you're going to reap dividends. And this is some statistics from that feud between Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. They sold out of their chicken sandwiches. Popeyes did. They were selling 1,000 chicken sandwiches a day. 1,000 a day. That accounted for 30% of Popeye sales, which doubled store traffic, which they launched on August 12th. So they launched in August 12th. It wasn't that big a hit, but the feud started a week later, and that's when it happened. They started launching, and they started selling 1,000 chicken sandwiches a day. And it accounted for 30% of their sales, and they doubled their sales altogether per store. That's a huge success. And that wasn't a success they had to pay for, or they didn't have to create ads, but they were using just their presence and their commentary on the site to do it. And it blew up and it pays off. And I want to encourage you guys with that as well. Like if you have your businesses, you need to be on social media. And it's hard. It takes a lot of time. It takes perseverance. It takes consistency. You got to show up. You got to be continually thorough. You got to continually post day after day. And you might not always reap the benefits, but you never know when something like this chicken sandwich feud is going to happen. And it's just worth it. When you can double your sales and when you can increase the percentage of the sale of a product from just posting on social media and starting, and it should encourage you to just start thinking differently. Think, how can I go viral? How can I get people's attention? How can I draw people in? What can I say? Who can I play off of? There's all these brands now that are going to start wanting to play off of each other because of the success of this. Get in on that. Get in on that and see how you can grow your social media presence and grow and drive people to your products and services. Now let's go out, be successful together, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.